protect our freedoms and our union. One way the stories of these fallen service members is another generation of Americans to model their lives after Sergeant Herrick and others who gave their lives in devotion to country. When Sergeant Herrick is laid to rest later this year on Veterans Day in Emporia, Kansas, where Veterans Day was first celebrated, hopefully his life and his story lives on in the hearts, is remembered, retold, revered on this and every Memorial Day to come. Mr. President, I say what I said to my dad when I called him from the World War II Memorial shortly before it was dedicated. Called home to Plainville, Kansas, to say to my dad, I'm at the World War II Memorial. Dad, I want you to know this memorial, built in your honor, it causes me to tell you that, Dad, I respect you, I appreciate your service, and Dad, I love you. This Memorial Day, I no longer can say that to my dad, and incidentally, on my way back to the Capitol from that visit, my phone rang. It was my dad. He said, Gerald, you left me a message. Could you repeat it? I didn't understand it. I can't repeat it to my dad any longer. He's no longer living. But we can use this Memorial Day and every other day to say just exactly what I said to my dad then, a World War II veteran. Dad, and to every service member and to every veteran, we respect you. We appreciate your service, and we love you. I yield the floor.
And ready.
New Jersey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent today on the floor of the United States Senate that the Senate itself proceed to the consideration of S-Res 712 submitted earlier today.
The clerk will report.
Senate Resolution 712 designating May 2024 as Older Americans Month.
Is there objection to proceeding to the messenger? Without objection, the Senate will proceed to the measure.
I ask consent from all of my colleagues, otherwise known as unanimous consent, that this resolution be agreed to, that the preamble be agreed to, and that the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid plain upon the table with no action or debate.
Is there objection? Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the appointment of the desk appear separately, apart from, in the record, as if made by the chair.
Without objection.
Of all my colleagues, unanimous consent that where the Senate completes, that when the Senate completes its business today, it adjourn to then convene for pro forma sessions only, with no business being conducted on the following days and times. Friday, May 24th at 10 a.m. Tuesday, May 28th at 10:30 a.m. and Friday, May 31st at 4:30 p.m. Further, Mr. President, that when the Senate adjourns on Friday, May 31st, it stand adjourned until 3 p.m. on Monday, June 3rd, that on Monday, following the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America, the Journal of Proceedings be approved to date, the morning hour be deemed expired, the time for both leaders be reserved for their use later in the day, and morning business be closed following the conclusion of morning business. The Senate proceed to the session that is executive, or the executive session, to resume consideration of the Hansen nomination. Further, that the cloture motions filed during today's session ripen at 5:30 p.m. on Monday.
Objection.
Mr. President, it is a privilege to say that if there is no further business to come before the United States Senate, I would like to ask humbly to you, sir, that it stand adjourned, that the United States Senate stand adjourned under the previous order.
The Senate stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. President.